You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt.
It's always darkest before the what? Before the dawn. You have to push through the hard to get to the place you're trying to get to.
The only thing I can control is me. So instead of worrying about who else is causing you problems, worry about what you can do to yourself to improve your station. And if you go down that path, you're gonna find you have a lot more control than you think you do.
You want to reach your goal? How to reach the goal the quickest? Be focused with your energy, meaning be focused with the mind. Don't lose the goal from the mind. Whatever you do, from the moment of waking up until the evening, whatever you do, keep the goal in the mind.
Life has to be hard.
Yeah.
It has to be difficult in some ways. It doesn't have to be, shouldn't be traumatic, shouldn't be, awful or painful, but things have to be hard for you to learn to do hard things.
If you didn't withdraw in fear from anything, from everything that life threw at you, who could you become?
When your excuses make you feel a little bit better about the fact that you didn't execute on what you needed to execute on, then they can make you feel better, but they're not helping you. They're not helping you at all.
My personal goal is to squeeze every ounce of potential out of whatever I have. And I think that if you feel like you have potential left over, then it will eat you alive until you do something about it.
There's 10,000 times more going on inside the head of a man than you have any idea. He's carrying burdens that you don't have a clue about, and he don't know how to express them, and he don't know what to do about it. And he figures if he puts it out there and communicates it, he's just going to be shot down, called a fool, called weak. So he carries it inside, and you have no clue the burdens and the hell that most men are carrying inside and not even showing you.
The world has a strange way of stepping aside when somebody says, I'll do it or die. The man says, I will climb the mountain. They've told me it's too high, it's too far, it's too rocky, it's too difficult, it's never been done before, but it's my mountain, I will climb it. Pretty soon you'll see me waving from the top, or dead on the side, because I ain't coming back.
Yeah. And this world, like it or not, is going to demand that you do hard shit. If you want to have anything, if you want to be able to provide for your own family, have your own dreams, have, the things that you want to have, because if you don't do it, the guy next to you is going to do it better, or the woman over here is going to do it better, and you're going to lose out.
I'm trying to build people up because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will fucking just hammer you.
I'd rather go too far than not far enough. The only reward that you get from taking it easy is the fact that in the moment it's easier. But if you want results and then you basically just catch yourself slacking off and don't do anything about it, then it kind of sounds like you don't really want those results,
If I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons.
We all got the gift. There's something that we've all been blessed with. At some point, if we listen to that fucking little thing that speaks to us inside, you are identifying with your blessing, you are identifying with your gift, and at that point, you learn what the it is and walk in your purpose, bro.
Getting better at anything really never feels good. Like if you're building resilience, it's not a time that you're liking. You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't feel good. So that's when, okay, I don't like this. This feels like shit, but because it's hard, because I can't lift these weights anymore, because I can't, these other, I'm exhausted and the other kids are still, running sprints or whatever, but those are the moments, for what it's worth, where you're getting better.
I isolate myself. I don't look at messages on Instagram. I don't send messages on Instagram. I don't go out. You would not like my life.
God is a Trinity. So when God made us in his image, he made us a Trinity, okay? We're a body, we're a soul, and we're a spirit. So if a man is not complete, if he doesn't have that faith, he's only 2/3 of a man.
Yeah, so good. People want to find their passion, but you don't find it, you create it. And you create it by getting good at something. And to get good at stuff, you start by doing something you suck at. Then you get good, then you like it. Then people ask how you found your passion. Answer: by starting when you sucked and not giving up.
Never stop, no matter how many failures. When you know you're doing what you're meant to do, you have to try.
It's irrelevant what other people say. And once you come to understand that, the noise quiets.
The most successful people live urgently. The most successful people are impatient. The most successful people have high expectations of themselves and of the people around them. The most successful people seem unrealistic and unreasonable in their expectations. And the most successful people are competitive.
If you keep going to the next level, you suck at the next level. You're not doing anything at the next level. So here's what that example is. Here's a human being. They've reached here. They're beating most people. They think they've reached it. They have no idea that there's that level there because there's fear. And every time you and I, believe me, I know this from experience, every time people that tell you, oh my gosh, you're so amazing, you're so this, you're so great, you believe it, but you're not there yet because you haven't reached your capacity yet.
People need to suffer. It is an actual requirement of life. And this is the fiber, the DNA of love. Real love, and true love, and perpetuity can't exist without suffering.
If you play it safe, you're gonna exist. You only get to live when you take risks. Ain't no living in safety. You can't be the man if you don't jump. You can't be top dog unless you fight the other dog.
If you get out of high school, you don't know what to do, and then you start playing video games and you're on social media, a day can slip by like that.
Yeah.
A day becomes a week, becomes a month, becomes a year, and before you know it, you're 30.
Yeah, right.
And you
That's
haven't
for
done
sure.
shit.
Yeah.
And that's really common. That's really common today. And I don't think we can ignore those factors.
When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, I'm not saying physical, I'm not saying you got to break yourself off. The amount of mental pain of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do. That's your new norm.
When I was in my 20s, I wanted to be a millionaire. And when I was a millionaire, I wanted to be in my 20s.
Go into the silence. Go and sit down quietly by yourself for 30 to 60 minutes. That any problem that you have, any difficulty, any challenge, any goal that you want to accomplish, if you'll go into the silence and sit quietly and then listen to the still small voice within. Listen to the still small voice within. You will find that at a certain point, probably at about 25 to 30 minutes, your mind will go completely clear, and then a flow of ideas will start to flow into your mind. You'll feel energy welling up inside you at a particular moment. Exactly the answer you need will come at exactly the right time.
Success is something you attract, not something you pursue. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. See, the major question to ask on the job is not what are you getting? The major question to ask on the job is what are you becoming?
Everybody goes through this, okay? It is not just you. These hard times, these times where you're struggling, these times when you're angry, these times when you're frustrated, these are not exclusive to you.
So then it's like breathing. And then once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to.
When you find yourself in a really bad place in life, normally you didn't get there overnight, and you're not going to get out of it. I got myself into that situation by how I looked at things and how I handled things and how I so it was on me. I'm not blaming the rest of the world. And I think that's the first place you got to get.
Yes,
you
sir.
got to say, what are my decisions that has got me in this mess? And so what decision am I going to make to start getting me out of this mess?
People who think they're exclusive to them suffer from a massive arrogance problem. They believe that they are the only person that suffers, the only person that has hardship, when in reality, every single achiever that's ever existed, every single thing that's ever been built has been built by somebody who's gone through this process of everything going wrong at some point.
So if you really want it, you realize what trying is and what trying is not.
Ain't nobody finna give you the championship. You don't win the title without coming to the fight. You don't win the fight without training. The jump is necessary. Every successful person I ever know has jumped. Why would you not?
The thing is that we're all punished for what we put at the top, right? Because the structure that you use to orient yourself in your life is dependent on your values. And you might say, well, if you don't value human life, let's say, above all, well, then you don't value yourself above all. You value something else above that. You're going to pay for that in one way or another. Now, you might say, well, that's a price that I think is worth paying, or I don't think that human beings should be put on the top. You know, that's your prerogative. But you will absolutely 100% pay in full for everything that you've done and for everything that you haven't done.
You have one life, don't settle for mediocrity.
Don't settle for mediocrity. And I think the only, people debate intelligence, for example, right? We talk about IQ tests and all that. But I think the only true test of intelligence is if you get what you want out of life. And there are two parts to that. One is getting what you want, so you know how to get it. And the second is wanting the right things, knowing what to want in the first place.
Everything I've ever done in my life, I didn't want to do. But this is the scary thing. Why most people don't want to do that, build that willpower, is because it is scary. It unlocks a whole bunch of things about who you are and who you're not. And a lot of people don't want to go down that journey to discover who they are and who they're not, because it's not a pretty journey.
So this is us. This is our lives. If we don't make an effort, if we don't apply force, we don't change.
The idea that my future self would trade all the money he had to be poor and 20 again made me really reanalyze how I saw living life in the moment. If I literally in the future will value my present moment more than the achievement of the thing that I'm seeking right now in the present, then something's off.
When you're in the middle of a struggle, it never seems like you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
And you're trapped.
Yeah.
You feel it, and it's so difficult for people to trust the process or to trust that it will get better. And this is unfortunately why a lot of people end their lives, because they do not think it's going to get better. And you hear it from so many people that almost took their life or failed when they tried to take their life, and now realize, oh my God, I was so wrong. It does get better. I am better. Everything's better. And I just didn't see the light. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I thought there was just nothing but this feeling that I couldn't endure.
Our lives will just continue as they are. That's what we're up against. And it's not easy. It takes effort, because nature doesn't want to change. It just wants to keep going in that same path that it's been going on. It would rather just kind of conserve energy and just continue doing what it's doing. What we would rather continue doing what we're doing. Just that easy path, let things stay the same, just keep doing what we're doing. That's what we have to fight against. Because if we don't take action, if you don't take action, then nothing's going to change.
You have to lose your fear of failure. Failure is a part of the process. People who never fail, never try. You have to fail. You got to get it wrong to get it right. You learn nothing from winning. You only learn from your failures, because now you know what not to do.
The decision to leave Baltimore, which is where I was from, to quit that path, to decide to start a business of my own, was still to this day the hardest thing I've ever done. By far, all the things we've been through to build what we have, the hardest decision was taking the leap. For me, it was actually confronting the fact that I didn't want to be alive anymore, which was the thing that gave me enough courage, or whatever you want to call it, to actually make the decision to leave home.
It's a war of many battles. The battles are fought every single day for betterment, to bring that belief to the surface of what we always knew we could be. I mean, isn't it about time you guys become the person you always knew you could be? Shut off the volume, the speakers of society telling you what you can't be. Listen to the voice from within, the energy inside, knowing you can be more than this. Where there are no limitations, excuses, negative energy. It's just high voltage of positive. This workout, the crusade, many battles, easily won on a daily occurrence. The war will never be won, because that war is a better life, a life of inspirement, where you lead others to join you in that endeavor and create something epic that we talk about back in the day.
Your real self is inside you. Your body gets old, but your soul and your spirit never die. That's gonna live forever. So your body is just housing your soul and spirit. So God is testing us on how we treat each other, how we live, to see where our real home be in heaven. So this physical stuff don't last for so long.
Are more things thrown at us than we can manage? And you might say, well, that's just presents an insuperable barrier to progress. That's not very helpful, because you're alive, here you are, you got these problems to contend with, and if it's an impossible task, then how could you be anything but hopeless and desperate? How would things transform if I took this on as a voluntary adventure, regardless of its scope? And the scope would include unjust suffering, death, and hell.
You are the general that is in charge of your life, in charge of the war of your life. Some people talk about being the CEO of your life. I'm telling you, you are the general of your life, because it's a war. It's a war going on. The battle that's going on in your life to be stronger and smarter and faster and better. So that means as the general, you're the one who decides what you do and how you're gonna do it.
It just takes work. Shitloads and shitloads of work. Every time I try and dress it up or cut a corner, I get brutally reminded the work just needs doing. The work doesn't care who you are. It just cares that it gets done.
I'm actually going to reverse quote David Goggins on this one. I love this quote that he has, which he says, "There's no shortcuts for you, David," or "There's no shortcuts for you, Goggins." I heard him say that, and I just love that as a refrain, which is that a lot of people look for a shortcut. But the idea that you say, like, they're not for you, you don't get to use them. You are immune to shortcuts.
The greatest of all qualities to guarantee success is the absolute willingness to go at anything and refuse to stop until you achieve it. And you know something? The statistics show that 95% of the goals that you set for yourself, you will achieve if you refuse to quit. So the starting point is just to simply say, I am unstoppable.
But they're jealous of what you've got. They're not jealous of how you got it. Who would you have to be to do that? And we're all chasing something, right? I think we're chasing imposter syndrome. As you level up, you should feel like, do I belong here? This show's much bigger than it was when I was last on. Congratulations, you. Why is it bigger? Well, because you pushed yourself and you worked harder.
You've already achieved goals you said would make you happy. You've already achieved goals you said would make you happy. How can you presume that your happiness sits on the next side of the next set of goals, given that right now you are on the other side of your last set of goals?
If you ask people what they regret, especially as they get older, what they generally report is things not done. So they don't regret so much mistakes they've made, although of course people obviously regret mistakes they've made as well. So they don't exactly regret sins of commission. They torment themselves for opportunities that had presented themselves that they did not, let's say, exploit or engage in.
The most important thing for self-esteem is to find something you care about more than yourself. I don't think it's bad to be hard on yourself, as long as you also celebrate when the victories happen. But, you know, so many people will tell you, I have poor self-esteem because when I was a kid, people said this to me and that to me. It's convenient that we remember those things and not the positive things that also occur, obviously. But I think it's more important is to realize that self-esteem is earned. It's only earned by you with yourself. You're not going to get self-esteem because everybody praises you. Someone can tell you your whole life that you're brilliant, you're a genius, you're beautiful, you're handsome, and you not believe it. Someone can tell you you're a piece of crap and you're never going to become anything. And there's a part of you can say, I'll show you, as many people have, and then they develop drive out of it.
I think that's a very common pattern, especially for young people who feel a little bit helpless in their life.
Yeah.
I find a vector that makes me feel worthy.
Yeah.
You know, the most common story of high performers, I think, is that I needed to do something to get the world to recognize me. One of the problems, I think, as people grow up is that they internalize this belief that the only way that the world will value me is if I can continue to perform at this high level. And I think that some people can imbibe a type of insecurity in that if I stop doing these things, if I stop being as impressive to the world,
yes,
it's going to deny me its love, that it is, I'm going to be unwanted, unworthy. And I think that this, talking about the high performer thing, talking about the pity of the CEO, how much are you running towards something that you want and how much are you running away from something that you fear?
One of the most damaging things that any human can do is set low standards and then achieve those standards. You can't set average or mediocre as a standard because everyone else around you is blue collar and therefore you're gonna be blue collar and then go, yay, I became blue collar. Like if you have ambitions of being white collar or you have ambitions of being a baller, you have ambitions of being whatever the fuck you wanna be, go for that and surround yourself with people who are that and raise your standards to really high standards. I would rather you set your sights not on the moon, but on the stars, because in the process of shooting for the stars, you will hit the moon, guaranteed. But in the process of shooting for the moon, you might completely miss it and hit nothing.
There's more at stake today than in any story ever told. And how lucky you are that you're here and you're you. And how lucky we are that you're here and you're you. This is your life. This is your moment, and it is all down to you. Ready, player one, your game begins now.
But you cannot erase the work ethic part. There is no getting around. Ain't no elevator to the top. You got to take the stairs. The elevator don't go to the top, man. Not in the world of success. You gotta take the stairs. Y'all gotta start getting gritty, man. I hate it when I see young people wasting their time, just sitting around in this world that's been created for you, that everything is instant.
The most driven individuals, they live a life for many years and certain times without balance. Everybody strives for balance, balance, balance. And in order to be that obsessed with something over and over again, you can't be the best at something and try to balance everything else around your life. There is going to be times where things are going to be out of balance. It just is.
You gotta work hard. I swear to God, if you're not gonna do it, I'm out.
Like every punch I ever thrown has been on my own. Nobody showed me how to do this. I'm ready.